Good morning from Falcon's Frontier, ready for another adventure. We join Jarrett Newton in the continuing discovery here in the verse. We intend to explore Pyro, but before that, we're going to cast ourselves across the vast icy plains here on the surface of Microtech. We have a hover quad, we have our resources, so we're going to have moments of reflection and silence, be embraced by the comfort and solitude of icy silence. Get lost, watch Stanton's light recede behind the horizon, and just be in the silent reflection and solitude of this unique, the engrossing dimension. So let's begin. Let's head on through from our salubrious accommodation here in Microtech, the Nest Apartments building, and journey. Recall it was uniquely impressive to observe the spectacular atrium here in Nest Apartments. Let's journey on through. Views of New Babbage in the distance. We have Pyro to explore and absorb. So let's see what we can do to both experience the icy silence and make a successful jump into Pyro. Also do some tasking as well. Previous session we did some tasking with the Sankura Goldenrod Work Center. Our intentions now to see if we can do as much as we can within the time frame given to us. Experience the essence of the journey. Pan with a reasonable speed, ready to continue. It'll be hopefully a spectacular excursion across the icy plains, get as far away from New Babbage as possible, and then do our best to navigate back. Hopefully we won't miss the train.
Leaving the station momentarily.
There. Our journey to the interstellar spaceport was a spectacular moment to watch the maglev dart through at great speed. Hopefully we'll be doing similar speed or relative to our little hover quad. I'll be heading out as far away as we can, directly in that direction. Must be in the essence and journey, here in the moment. Hopefully there won't be any problems in respect of sound volume and unfortunate but rather intriguing way in which we sometimes glitch into the immersion breaking events that sometimes happen here in the verse, but just continue. Let's head to the Raj access point. A few of these characters are strewn about across the stairs, elevators, and various spaces here in New Babbage as part of the problem with upgrading and evolving the verse, but let's see if we don't come into any problems. Hopefully not. Ready with Jarrett Newton's continued explorations.
It was great talking with you. I hope you have a wonderful day.
Official blue hue here in the customs area and security.
All right. It was nice chatting with you. I hope you enjoyed the rest of your visit.
Let's go ahead recall a hover quad. It's more greeted by the spectacular panoramic view, the entirety in and around New Babbage at the distance.
From all of us at Microtech, welcome to
And
the
our
New
distance,
Babbage
our objective would be head out, across, and dart into the icy odyssey, out into these
From all of us at
captivating spaces.
Microtech, welcome to the New Babbage Interstellar Spaceport.
See if we can catch a conclusion of the day and watch Stanton's light recede.
Welcome. Please visit us again. Goodbye.
It's the garage
Sure to
access.
explore all New Babbage has to offer, whether it's the latest in cutting-edge
It was a
or the beauty of our award-winning gardens.
interesting moment to capture the aesthetic
Going on today.
that is synonymous with New Babbage. Let's recall a hover quad.
Welcome to
Your
the
belongings
ASOP
belong
vehicle
to you.
retrieval system.
Keep a careful watch on
Your
all
insurance
personal
claim
items.
has been sent.
And then see what we can do. We have enough provisions with us.
Your vehicle has been moved. Vehicle
So we're
moved.
ready now.
Please visit us
The
again.
Empire's leader in cutting-edge technology, where creative innovation meets
Head towards the enigmatic, icy solitude. Comfort and reassurance in the icy silence, the embrace of a space devoid of anything but sparse flora, perhaps some fauna, the spectacular mountain ranges make up this unique world. A precursor before our journey to Pyro. We have been saying we'll go to Pyro for quite a while, so we're definitely going to try to go in the next few sessions. They'll run sequentially. So here we have our uniquely impressive hover quad, and beyond the unforgiving weather, beyond the protective door here, garage number 7. Let's mount the ingress onto which the hover quad is to be enabled, flight ready. Engines on. Seems the power's enabled. Let's request clearance. Doors open. Blast of reassuringly bitter air. Sharp, unforgiving weather here on Microtech. I'm going to adjust the volume slightly to make sure that sound is reasonable. There, crisp. Partially cloudy day on the surface, on the day here. Slightly overcast, low level cloud layers. So we'll depart. Maglev, which we've come from. So ready to point and place the fate of the verse place our fate into the hands of the verse and see how far we get as we watch these spectacular sights and sounds. So with that, let's begin our journey. One final look at the solitude, the solace, here, New Babbage. Distances, the sounds, the sights. Reassuring space here, the Nest Apartments building. Slightly overcast, so it'll make some very good scenery. So make sure that we do have our provisions with us.
Engine systems disabled.
Might be important before we...
All systems disabled.
Let's come to a stop here. Disembark. Make sure that we have our provisions. We do have consumables with us, so we're okay. Important to check that. Let's begin.
Welcome. Your journey begins now. All systems operational.
We can see we're currently locked at 94 meters per second. Should be able to increase the speed, but let's for the moment have our first instance of silence as we get further away from the safety and comfortable environment of New Babbage, the interstellar spaceport. There we're casting ourselves across a moment of silence. Just absorbing the essence, the ambience We'll certainly disperse our presentation with some Reflections, moments of silence, focus points. As we cast ourselves out. Seem to be locked at 94 meters per second. There we can see now. Encroaching icy silence. Still, last vestige of New Babbage still visible. Heading to this spot here. And there we have. So what we might do is try to just go directly without changing our bearing. See if we can navigate. Looks like we're unable to navigate, so we'll just slightly adjust our course. See if we can turn and see the last remnants, and there in the distance, New Babbage disappearing gradually. To be a spectacular moment. Problem is, I want to lose the bearings, so what we will do is try and negotiate. We can do across. And over these so it's not much of a deviation here, so let's continue the journey. Getting into the serious depths of icy plains in the distance. Benefit of this frozen lake, flat surface into which we could operate at speed. Then we'll stop. Egress our hoverquad and have a moment of reflection. Very impressive traverse. Getting further and further away now. Icy escape. Foxfront is happy to have you aboard. And impressive in their Stanton. Hazy spaces, light shafts, moments. Let's continue the journey, try and complete the entire trek across this huge frozen lake. Enthralled by the impressive distance, flat surface, and the impressive mountain ranges. The gateway to New Babbage from here, so let's continue on. Moments of solitude. I think we're reaching the end of this lake on this bearing. So let's change our bearing slightly. See if we can continue and reach the very end of the lake. Just don't get too distracted. There we have our encounter with some fauna here. So roaming fauna here on the surface. Microtech. Perhaps variation of Sir David Attenborough. Feel like catching instances, wildlife here amongst this huge plain. We'll leave them be. Our first encounter with some roaming fauna here. Let's continue the journey. So that's the lake, and that's the routing. So we've got to make sure not to lose our bearing and just continue on to the very end. Again, the depth and the impressive ambience, especially when we disable the engines. Our hydration is getting low, so we reach our destination. Turn the engines off. Just be in the reflective solitude of this environment. Stanton's rays now complete, unobstructed by the clouds, but it will offer a very good view of some of the clouds as Stanton's light bounces off some of the impressive cloud formations as we continue the journey. Obviously changed our bearing slightly. Hopefully we'll be able to manage our journey back. different emerge now into a different characteristic, another impressive sight. Make sure there are no larger rock formations. So we've maintained a westerly bearing mostly throughout our journey, so we should hopefully let's turn east and be able to find our way back. New Babbage now. The only solace, the only means of returning, a humble hoverquad. It does put into perspective size of the lake. Hydrogen fuel now 75% at this distance. So we should think about coming to a stop somewhere. Icy spaces and impressive plains of this huge frozen feature. The flat frozen lakes here on the surface of Microtech. A small island in the distance, as we can see, some trees in the distance, so we'll head over to those trees, hopefully have a moment of reflection. Solitude here. Let's find a rest spot. Others go in search of company. But we, continuing journey of Jared Newton, pursues the comfort and solace in the surround of pure, icy silence.
Engine systems disabled. All systems disabled.
unmistakable sound of comforting silence. Sparse flora, or the flora and around, trees in the distance, and hopefully, somewhere, New Babbage. Very at extreme distance now. Hopefully we can catch Stanton's receding light. Be at one in the depth and distance of this icy dimension. Crisp, cool, minus 33 degrees centigrade. So let's remove a helmet. Hopefully. To remove the helmet. So we can take a lungful, rejuvenating microtech air here out in the icy distance. Uniquely intriguing space, especially coupled with the light spaces, the blue hue, Stanton's light, passing through the clouds here, the distant trees, mountain ranges of this small, snowy island, surrounded by this huge frozen lake. so much depth here, so much environment, focus to be absorbed. All provided to us the virtual alternate dimension of our unbound imagination. As Oxford Tale try and communicate both multi-level sensory experience from, as well as of audio and visual experience, olfactory and tactile experience. Fortunately, I don't believe we're able to. We have removed the helmet now. Helmet removed now. We can hear Jarrett Newton respond, breathing in the crisp, refreshing light, blue, clear, unpolluted, crisp microtech air. Rejuvenating the senses, giving the physiology a jolt. This very chilly and very sensory awakening microtech air. We have adjusted the volume somewhat to catch the footsteps, the breathing, the ambient sounds. There, Stanton. It's an incredible euphoric moment. Less of the run and the gun, less the jumps, the elevators, train systems, but more so the hullabaloo. Just a moment. Self, distance, space, away, all that. Just appreciating the ambient silence, the comfort in the solitude, the icy plains, snowy mountains, and clear, crisp, light blue is synonymous with microtech. Hopefully a journey. Reflection of a moment. Reflection of own thoughts. Jack Newton's deep microtech excursion. Hopefully we'll find our way back. Be in the thrall of this wondrous journey. Hopefully get inspired and hopefully be out long enough to see Stanton and the light recede. And watch the impressive way to just experience the essence, the journey itself. See Port Tressler in orbit. And a humble hoverquad. It would be a good time to hopefully watch Stanton disappear behind the horizon. See if we can capture a spectacular environmental display. Ambience. Mountain ranges, and indeed hope and inspiration, perhaps, to inspire one to go from the virtual to the real, to have a excursion out into nature, into the icy plains, enjoying the journey. Into location now. Take a seat. Have our cool, refreshing beverage, coupled with the refreshing icy plains. The surface here, a mixture of both inner body, outer body refreshment. Do we have to drop the beverage? We have. That's okay. Try and remove our protective helmet. And see that pips can here on the surface of Microtech. There, we're ready now. Look at Stanton. Look at the snowy, frozen, icy lake beyond. Small patch. Small island of ice, snow, and flora. All coupled together, ready to deliver a fully refreshing experience. Partially hydrated, feeling that hydration. Being in the impressive surround of this vastly unique spot, perhaps unvisited by any patron of the verse. But here we are. A moment, reflection. Let's replace the helmet. There, fully hydrated, refreshed with the senses. Unique perspectives. An ambience in abundance. Did want to see the time to actually catch Stanton recede behind the horizon, but going to the time, perhaps now. It's time to ingress a hover quad, initialize the systems. Turn back and hope that we can relocate the interstellar spaceport for this small yet hopefully inspiring excursion out across the surface here. All part of the journey. All part inconceivable amount of distance between on foot. Where we are is perhaps some visited place. And our solace, the interstellar spaceport, the NBIS terminal, the new Babbage, comforts of the Aspire Grand. But here we are. I was feeling not in the same magnitude. The voyages of Shackleton, Michael Collins when he was the furthest around the moon, waiting for Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin to complete their expedition. Spaces and journey wonders, all delivered through these digital dreams. We could stay out here much longer than needed, but perhaps it was a prerequisite now to conclude the session and return back to the safety of the NBIS terminal. A lot more to explore. Spectacular thing to do some of these activities on the surface of the yet undiscovered planets of Vulcan's frontier. The excellence which Pyro awaits far into the verse. So what we'll do is we'll head back. Focused moment of both solitude, reflection, getting a few views in with the trees, the excellence of these impressively detailed environments. Just being in the essence here of the journey. Our dutiful explorer continues these expeditions. Here a storm, perhaps, on its way. It would be a wondrous thing to catch Stanton's receding light. Would warrant a further stay here. Would warrant a moment where some of the light would really capture as it traverses, is diffused by these large cloud layers, this overcast style cloud layer. Take a seat. Boreal forests in northern Canada. For a world born directly from the crucible of our creativity. Solitude in icy silence. We see hopefully our journey back in this terminal will be successful. Just a lot of euphoric moments, really just capturing the different angles, perspectives can be attained from the unique view of our journey into the hyperlight, hyperspaces, hyper-inspiration. Let's have a view of Stanton beyond the trees in the distance. Just watch. Sit down near the edge of the little island. The island meets the icy lake. A few moments of reflection and silence. And journey on back. I'll have a moment of silence there and watching rest of light. Just on the edge, the icy lake. You can see even the lake overlap the edge here. Golden light reflecting off the icy surface. Spectacular view in the distance. Stanton, between the trees, reflecting its light, a shiny, flat, icy lake. As we can see the transition now from daylight into the enveloping dark. A moment of solace somewhere on the surface of Microtech. Unparalleled, captivating atmosphere. Cloud layers offering distortion of light, light offering different hues from light yellow to gradual crimson red. The usher in a night away, distant, in solitude, the icy plain somewhere, ready to accept the nightscape here on the surface of this unique spectacular world. Wonderscapes and lightscapes, soundscapes and journeyscapes, all here. Before us. Only one could log out on the surface here and resume the journey back, but because of the receding light, ominous, the dangerous, captivating sights here lend itself a greater challenge as we have to head back tonight, and it's a greater challenge. So let us see if we can turn on the hover quad. Enable the systems, turn on the internal air conditioning, the fan system, internal heating, so we can feel warm. And restored on microtics. Unforgiving planes here. Internal climate control, hopefully warming us up for the journey back to the NBIS terminal. Impressive sight, almost feels tempting enough to abandon that and just head into the light. There, our hover quad awaits. Major journey begins. Let's initialize the systems. Engage the heating. Just feel like perhaps just to conclude the session out here, rest our sleepy head onto the faceplate of the hover quad and allow its anti-gravity systems, as they fluctuate, to bob up and down, giving a sensation that we're calmly floating and reacting to the ripples of a vast ocean. It's the internal fluctuations, power fluctuation of the hover quad systems gradually bob us up and down and send us into a state of pure slumber. let's continue on further out and see what we can see.
Welcome. Your journey begins now. All systems operational.
So we can't miss quadding into the light. Perhaps even if it does compromise in certain degrees, unless we just follow the lakes back, I'm sure we'll be able to find this terminal. Here our journey begins and continues. Into the light. The last vestige of light is going to be obscured by that odd just off into the horizon. So perhaps what we'll do now is make tracks, head back to the security, safety, the NBIS terminal. A lot more to explore, a lot more to see as we journey on through, and hopefully get to Pyro to follow on in the next session. Turn back, try and make tracks back to the NBIS terminal. Hopefully this is the right direction. Just keep to the lake and see where it takes us. So let's begin. Journey commences from light spaces to focused minds to instances of inspiration. Here before us, in the grand spectacle of this digital dream. Let us cast ourselves back and continue the journey to inspire for the journey here with Vulcan's Frontier. Hopefully we'll get back to the NBIS terminal. See a mountainous area in that direction, so we want to see if we can go around that. It seems to curve round. Feeling the warmth of the hover quads, internal engines, the heated seat. Getting our core temperature back to normal. Looks like some installation. Some outpost. Looks like we've come across. Very impressive. Especially the individual breaks in the cloud, showing the verse coming through. Turn on the lights. Spectacular visual scape. It's that wondrous feeling when you're on a long journey. You just drift off into a state of slumber. Whether you're on a flight, a long haul red-eye, perhaps a long train journey. But here, distant, we have our Hubble hoverquad. The pathway. The question remains, do we head on over in that direction? I think that's the main direction's further north, so there's an installation in the distance. Let's see if we stick to the lake. See where this pathway takes us. Impressive lightscapes. Impressive nightscapes. There's an installation in the distance. Refer to that installation. Close by somewhere. So worthwhile having a look at that installation. Although we do have some limited hydrogen fuel with us. Journey back, there was the darker lake, and now it's transitioned into the dark icy lake into the more frozen lake. Heading north, following the contour of the lake. It's a very long presentation. As always, Folks Frontier will chapter it in order for there to be easy navigation. An intriguing installation in the distance. Almost warrants a small detour, considering our hydrogen fuel as well. Very impressive. To the impressive ambience it's afforded. As we journey on through. Hopefully we have some kind of bearing. We didn't traverse any mountains. Keep to the lake. Sending ourselves into a state of pure oblivion. One positive sign is that we have the group of fauna that was foraging, came across, so true essence of light. Follow the lake back. Just be in the very impressive open space now. Sure, difficult to dead reckon in the night, especially. So what we have to look for are the reassuring lights of New Babbage, hopefully coming into view as we did pass the fauna. We have to also look out for rocks, boulders that are coming our way, but we can see now as we traverse through. And we have a 50% hydrogen fuel warning, so there are two outcomes. Outcome one, we're either stranded, icy tomb of microtech, or we succeed in locating the NBIS terminal. Stick to the lake. Very impressive. It's getting to the visibility is very, very poor, but a very impressive. Demonstration here. We are still on the icy lake. There. There's no elevation change, so we're still on the lake itself, but challenges of navigating the dead of night, no light sources. There's still the lake because these small icy boulders are still on the surface. It's just but a small bridge onto the other side of the lake. Are we going to succumb to the reality? Being lost? Here in Microtech's icy plains. Very eventful moment from watching Stanton recede to the reality of getting lost, being claimed by Microtech. Seeing if this lake will reappear. A very bumpy ride as well. It's obvious that we have to find the lake. There are the... Luckily, managed to locate the fauna in the distance. There we have the fauna. Sure, hopeful that this was the same group of fauna that we encountered, unless it's a different group owing to their sparseness. So just beyond that should be the lake, if not. We've returned back to the reassuring sight of the lake. Sight for sore eyes. Luckily, we were able to hone in on that fauna as a landmark. So let's not try to that's better. There we have the open lake before us. Very impressive view. Again, this is a different experience compared to the silence of the journey before. To be a long presentation. The reassuring sight of a huge lake before us. The reality of hydrogen fuel and its foggy light interrupting our making sure that we're on the frozen lake. Such as navigating at night, trying to find the terminal. Let's have a look at our map. See if we are able to locate it. Have we passed it? Looks like, based upon our movement, that we're edging closer if we judge it from that perspective. Looks like we're edging closer. But who can tell? The only danger, the only reality, is the hydrogen fuel is being spent every time we thrust forward. Watch out for boulders as well as they going to come into view. Slowly but surely, making our way. The comfort and solace of the hopeful discovery. The NBIS terminal and solace back at New Babbage. Suppose if we go near the Port Tressler. Last thing we want is to strike these heavy boulders. But again, we want to hopefully that, I think it was locating the fauna that saved us. Maybe speaking too early will hopefully make tracks back to reassuring lights of New Babbage. Pathway to a hopeful salvation. This looks hopeful return. We've got more shadow here, which is going to be really more difficult. Maintaining 140 degrees. So not exactly. Still an easterly direction. Try the light. Last thing we need is the indication of our hydrogen fuel. Let's check the hydrogen fuel level. Wonder if the star map reflects the change in your one's direction. Let's continue the journey and hope for the best. Very long presentation. Our intentions were to see if we can reach New Babbage. And I wonder what that light in the distance is. Beacon. Possibility of New Babbage in the distance. A feeling of Shackleton finding, navigating. A feeling of making a successful. I think that beacon warrants investigation. Have we successfully returned? Be greeted by the reassuring lights here at New Babbage. Let's keep an eye on that beacon. Into the distance. sight. Now we're in the throw of a serious blizzard is on the top of that. And hydrogen fuel now 25%. So now we have to be quite definite on what that beacon is. Will Microtech claim us? Have we veered off? Here's the lake. What we want to see is positive sign, the lake before us. I think what we have to do is head on up to that beacon. See if we can get a view . Hydrogen fuel now dropping down. We may have made a wrong turn. Getting critical now. Getting very critical. What pathway have we taken? So I think the only way, judging from that, is to head to the that beacon in the distance. Unless that wasn't a beacon, it was just a star. There's a reassurance though. Port Tressler's there, so a reassuring sight. Also gaining ground, higher ground is effective as well, making sure that we and there we have the beacon. So let's head to the beacon. Making sure that we're focused so we don't have any accidents. Beacon, already point of solace. And that looks like Port Tressler there, so the angle on Port Tressler looks to me like apologies, this particular journey, although quite bumpy. Let's turn the lights off and reassess where we are. And there's the beacon. So will New Babbage emerge from beyond this hill? But if it perhaps weren't for that beacon, we're not sure if this is New Babbage. But we are getting closer to the beacon now. A profoundly impactful discovery if we are in fact ready to discover New Babbage just beyond the hill. Lights, perhaps the reassuring location. Is New Babbage visitable? Well, it seems like a building more so than a there, I think. There's the main building, or one of the buildings, so one of these mouths should reveal the reassuring sight. Here. Too carried away in the speed. One is entirely engrossed in the reality of one of these hills suddenly revealing solace. It is New Babbage. Is it a singular building?
Hydrogen fuel running low.
We have hydrogen fuel now running low, so is it a singular building? There's Port Tressler. And there in the distance, I wonder, is that indeed the signal, the interstellar spaceport? The distance, hydrogen fuel is running low. Have we returned? Have we made it back? Very little hydrogen fuel remaining. Maybe the interstellar spaceport. As luck might have it, we would have run out of hydrogen fuel just before our discovery here. Was that a mirage, or was that truly the interstellar spaceport in the distance? Certainly covering some very, very heavy terrain. Even more challenging terrain closer to the possibility of the spaceport. Vertical walls that we can't ascend. Well, this spaceport would be in that general direction, so there's the in the distance. Gradually, slowly but surely, we're making our way back. We've got very low food, very low hydration, but in the distance, a solace. The spaceport. We might have to dump our hover quad. So let's use whatever fuel we can. Get to the reassuring lights. The interstellar spaceport. Waste of fuel there. And there we have structural failure, engine failure. Okay, we have one engine going. Engine destroyed. Fuel empty, the last moments of hydrogen fuel, and there we have in the distance showing the hydrogen fuel empty, so it's using the last bits of hydrogen fuel on this journey. Very impressive moment of intrigue and suspense as we try to get ourselves back to the interstellar spaceport. Showing hydrogen fuel's empty, but there's probably a last cell of hydrogen, last measure of hydrogen fuel remaining. Well, this has certainly been an epic journey. The journey, solitude, to trying to find our way back. The dead of night. And there we can see the reassuring two dual lights. The interstellar spaceport. So if we pass that beacon, We should have headed towards that beacon earlier, but luckily it's slightly flat here on our way. And there, I think we've reached the lake and solace. Reach the lake, solace in the distance. The impressive, epic journey. Interstellar spaceport. Hopefully we can finish the journey. An unbelievably impressive journey. Must feel the reassuring space now as we return to the interstellar spaceport. Hopefully just the last few moments of hydrogen fuel left. And that's an incredible moment of euphoria, just that beacon, locating the beacon, eventually pointing to the salvage. That indeed, that location is the location of both New Babbage, with Solace here, the interstellar spaceport. Uniquely impressive way in which managed to locate New Babbage through the dead of night. A very impressive journey, casting ourselves out across the icy plains, getting lost. And there we have last bit of reserve fuel. And we have no forward thrust, so perhaps what we can do is use our... We have access to the commons area, but we can see the reassuring lights. Using our reserve side thrusters as a means for forward momentum. Again, an epic journey. And we have in the distance that forward momentum, perhaps requesting ATC. Just using our forward side thrusters to, and then a sight. An impressive sight, even though hydrogen fuel. So what would be the more appropriate access? Let's get to the edge where the spaceport meets the spaceport itself meets the edge, and then about there we could see the reassuring maglev. It is New Babbage, and there the nest apartments. A journey both of solitude and of tentative via a reality that we have indeed navigated to the comfortable safety of the interstellar spaceport. And we would have had to walk, so the other side, the interstellar spaceport. Let's see how it looks on the map. Successful navigation. So there's no real reference. If it hadn't have been for that beacon, so just think using the side thrusters as a... We don't have any momentum, but using the side thrusters fuel as a means to get to the reassuring euphoric moment. Navigating pure dead reckoning. If it hadn't have been for the fauna or that beacon in the distance, we would have surely failed and succumbed to microtech. An impressive. So we did actually take a wrong turning and end up locating a beacon beyond on the other side. Again, impressive display. Let us consolidate our feelings, be joyous in the reality that we have in fact returned. A huge excursion. We've returned to the solace of the interstellar spaceport. A few hours ago, the reassuring sight. Garage access. And there we have completed journey. Again, if it hadn't have been for that beacon, we would have never have found the interstellar spaceport. We would have never found New Babbage. Would have been lost in the forever icy plains. We would have succumbed to an eventual passing, eventual ending, as microtech would have claimed us. Succumb to an icy end. But here we have it. We're ready to feel the difference between our extreme journey and our return back to the barrage access here. If it hadn't have been for that beacon, no way would have been able to locate our journey back. An incredible journey of fear, tentative wonder, and of impressive moments. All that entire distance, watching Stanton recede behind the horizon. Return journey back to the comforting and reassuring island here, nestled in the icy plains. Let's return. It does say hydrogen fuel, but maybe this is reserve. Let's contact ATC. And there we have Garage 8 opening. Conclusion to an impressive journey. Out into the beyond. So let's turn off the engines. Take a huge sigh of relief.
Engine systems disabled. All systems disabled.
And there, back, returned, successful. If we hadn't have located that beacon, who knows what would have happened. We'd have either found another outpost or succumb once more to an icy end here on the surface of Microtech. Let's disembark, survey the damage. What a reassuring sight to see once more Microtech's garage. Microtech. Let's head up to the NBIS terminal, take a seat, and have a beverage. One more look at our savior, our friendly hoverquad, for without it, we would have surely succumbed. Thank you indeed for our rescue, our journey, opportunity to watch Stanton, opportunity to return. Dead reckoning, or small guesswork rather than dead reckoning. Sheer luck. If we hadn't have located that fauna, nor if we had located that beacon, we should have turned to that beacon immediately. We managed to make it back. Return back. Sight for sore eyes. The NBIS terminal. There we have it. The journey for which we started. Let's take a seat. Back to the... Tell patrons of the verse, these crouching patrons interested in Tai Chi. Let's now take a seat. Real impressive difference between the reality of trying to get back and just being back in the reassuring safety here in New Babbage. Let's take a seat.
Hey.
Impressive to think that only a few moments ago we were out there, deep within the icy plains, the icy lakes. Here we are, back. Comforting, aesthetic of the unmistakable ambience here in New Babbage, the NBIS terminal. Well, an epic journey, a journey of fear, a journey of wonder, solitude, a spectacular moment watching Stanton recede behind the horizon in a spectacular lightscape, journeyscape in daylight, and the reality of getting back using our hoverquad for the safety of the NBIS terminal. Let's take a drink. And hopefully little did we know we'd actually see this site again and be back. Not sure how to equip this, so we'll just drop it. Then, or use the there we have it. Let's remove the helmet. Aggressive exercise in both survival, bit of dead reckoning, some marking some various territories, various locations, both at fauna. If it hadn't have been for that beacon, there's no telling where we would have ended up. But we would have been. But Microtech's icy plains would have been our permanent location. It's more a journey of solitude and wonder. Let's try and practice that on the surface of Pyro, on the surface of planets in Pyro, for our next adventure. It's been an incredible adventure. Hope you've enjoyed it. Now, let's take a seat and conclude our session. Feel the reassuring temperature-controlled balance, safety here in the NBIS terminal. We can tell, in part, our story to the many patrons here in the verse. A journey of solitude and of wonder. A journey of experience and possibly quite a bit of luck. An incredible, euphoric journey and a hopeful journey as we continue our verse adventure in this incredible dimension as we connect and experience the wonders here in the verse. The journey this time of spectacular views of receding light, icy silence, and pure survival. A very long presentation. August Frontier will now leave you with the sight as we look out to a place on which we once were. And actually, we look beyond there. We did come from that direction, so we did come from across the lake and beyond there, so we were deep within the domain of Microtech, nestled in and around the mountains, the icy peaks, quite mountainous, and we had a very close call as we damaged our right thruster, rear right thruster, but we made it back, and so did our hoverquad. A journey, an exceptional one at that. But for now, August Frontier will leave you with the sight of New Babbage and the safety, the protective glass on which we can see this spectacular city. And leave it at that, as always. Hope you've enjoyed the journey. August Frontier wishes you a safe, inspirational onward journey. A journey this time, spectacular views and moments of survival. Until next time, it's Frontier. Just hope you've enjoyed the journey. There's the like, subscribe, and comment button. Comment if you feel that this can be improved. Naturally, we're on the journey to increase the fidelity, presentation, continuity as we experience these virtual worlds, these alternate dimensions. Until next time, Take care, and goodbye for now.